am joined by Witch Prophet I and T. Thomason. Over this short time, I'm asking a few questions about what the past year looked like for all of us and how we all reacted to it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we're gonna jump in. We don't have a lot of time. All right, so what was a quick kind of, what was your year like? I'm looking at you, Witch Prophet, right now. You're on my screen.
My 2020. So my 2020 was filled with the beginning was the excitement of album release slated for March. You know, all the things that come with it, the shows, the touring, and then came COVID, and it was like complete stop of everything. And then it turned into sort of like a blessing in disguise, because it allowed me to focus more on the album that I released and also on the assets for the album. It made me feel like I was allowed to slow down and not have this sort of like rush moment of like your album lifespan is around for 6 months. It's like this time it's like, no, I'm gonna push it for as long as I can, because everybody's home, and what are you doing? Listen.
Right.
You're not doing nothing.
Where are you going anyway?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just gonna say that's it pretty much.
Yeah.
I think it's been similar for myself as well. Like I think all of us probably had an album slated to come out in 2020, and that just got halted. And it was, at first it felt like, why are you doing this to me? This was the year I was supposed to, it's supposed to be my year. And a mentor of mine, a friend of mine, was like, if there's anything good about this, it's happening to everyone. You're not the only one who's being stopped. So, just focus on what you got to do, and just kind of try to prepare yourself for the other side of this, because there's going to be another side of this. Yeah, just stepping back and just realizing, okay, taking that time, because prior to that, I was like, I got to get this album out before festival season, and that's come out this time. And if I don't get it out before festival season, it's gonna be hard to get these bookings. And then when there was no festival season, it's like, okay, now you can focus on the product and focus on what you're creating and the creativity. So I think Witch Prophet was perfect when she said that. Like, it's just like you had time to reflect on what you were creating, as opposed to trying to play this hamster wheel independent artist game that we always get caught up every album cycle. And it's always like working from behind, where now this time I feel like I'm working ahead of. I mean, you're always behind no matter what. Once you get to the labels and the industry stuff, they kind of slow everything down. But the creative process is like I was way ahead of that this time, and I think it felt so refreshing. Like even this week, like I had a whole album designed that I was able to change. Like I have to go to print, I think, on Friday, but I was able to change it because my mind was able to see something better with the time I had. You know what I mean? So. If anything good came out of it, it was the time and the reflection we had. But it was tough still. It was a lot of like internal stresses, internal like lows.
Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there. Get there. And T, I'm gonna check in with you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my year started in January. I like moved back to Toronto, and I was like, here I am. I'm back in the city. And I was planning a cross Canada tour to support the record that had come out in 2019, and planning this little series of singles to kind of put out. And then I was going to be, after the summer, kind of in more creative downtime anyway. But anyway, yeah, all of that obviously changed, and the tour got canceled. I moved back to Nova Scotia. And I still put out all the music that I had been intending to put out, but it was definitely a different kind of rollout. And I ended up doing some acting, which was like totally would not have happened if it wasn't for this situation. So yeah, I felt like I agree, Witch Prophet. I really liked what you said about feeling like you were allowed to take time. All of a sudden, it felt like there was some kind of permission that was being given. And definitely once the fall hit, I stepped into that. I broke my ankle, so I literally stepped into it and had to just but yeah, a lot of downtime and a lot of learning to not feel guilty about it, and unlearning the guilt, you know.
I think that kind of comes back into what I was talking about, the emotional roller coaster, the mental. I mean, I know for me, there was a lot of stuff that went on. I lost my mom, so it was like a go in and then just and try not to swear and just like screw off, just like I don't care about anything, and just really regroup, which I feel like was the same for everyone, just regrouping and just what do I really care about. And when I spoke to all of you before, it was kind of like everyone said the same thing, like what's my point, how can I show up in myself, like authentically and comfortably. Does anyone want to speak on that?
I guess I'd just say, like, it's as I was saying, you said, like, you can get ahead to a degree with this time, and then you said, as you're saying that, I was like, am I ahead? Oh no. And then you said,
right.
And then you said, you're never really ahead. And I was like, oh God, thank God. because I feel like it's like, I feel like I have done so much learning in this time. And for me, so much of this time was actually about separating myself from the industry and like getting off of that hamster wheel, like you said, as well. And so now as we come back into it, I kind of am like, oh God, I feel like am I like, what is, like, I just feel like I'm like, okay, I feel like I've learned things about myself that I can't unknow. And I'm like, is that going to put me behind because I'm not willing to work in some of the same ways as I was? And what is that going to mean as I move forward? So that's kind of the thought that comes to me.
Which Prophet, you had said something I wanted to, about showing up on social media. And I guess what was your and everyone's relationship with social media over this year? I know for me, it's like, yeah, I just kind of retreated just because of personal stuff, but also just figuring stuff out. But I know that it wasn't the same for everyone. So I'll start with Witch Prophet again.
Yeah, I had like two separate moments happen for me with social media. So the beginning of the pandemic was like, okay, you can't see anybody anyways, might as well just be online. And it's a lot easier to be online and be like the life of the party online than it is in an actual party. It's like, I'm exhausted, I don't want to be here. But but you can't, but in real life, you like can't avoid those parties because like out of sight, out of mind is a real thing within the music industry. And so it's like you are constantly having to be in sight, and that is an exhausting thing because it's exchanging energies with people in spaces. Not everybody's energy is going to match, and some people take a lot of energy instead of giving, or even just balancing energies. Some people take a lot. So I found that with social media, it was like I got to be in charge of who I'm actually interacting with. So and actually connecting with fans outside of Canada, and just being seen more online. But also there was a moment where I was like, okay, I've been doing this for a while, and now I want to step back and purposefully not post anything. And so I think it was really hard to not be on social media. So like I was totally creeping, but I wasn't posting anything. So like visually I was like taking a break, but really I was like, I don't want to share anything. I don't want to click like on anybody's thing. I will look because I don't want to miss anything if it happens, because we're in this state of like, if you miss it, you're out of the loop. So it's like a horrible like anxiety of like, I need to know. But at the same time, it like really helped me to realize like, I don't have to post all the time. And if I take a month break, the 5,000 or whatever people following me on Instagram are not all of a sudden going to be like, I don't want to follow you anymore, you know, and out of there. And then this build that I've made is gone. It's like that idea of like scarcity in the social media realm is fake. Like, you don't have to do that. Except that if you have like an album or something coming out, it's good to be active before it, but it's not like the end all.
Yeah, I did very much the same things, like kind of being on there, but not liking anything, just really, I was a creeper. Just because, you know, it's FOMO, you know, but then you're like, I don't want to be at the party really. And it was nice to not have to be really at the party. But in terms of the posting thing, I think it really showed me there are some people that I unfollowed, and it's not because I didn't like them anymore, but it was like, what do I want in my space too? And I started to reflect that onto other people and started to not take things personally.
You
know, anybody else with the social media relationship? Was anybody else creepy? Who else?
Of the pandemic, everybody took, from my point of view, I'm not, no disrespect to anybody, I feel like a lot of artists took it as an opportunity to hold their fans hostage and say, I'm gonna do a concert every single day for you guys, and it's like, nobody wants that, like, relax. But I did the opposite of that. I said, I'm not, like, this is a very dire time, I can't do concerts and ask you guys for money. But then I realized at some point where it's like, you know, people in my community, I don't like to call them fans, but my fans, some of them were waiting for me to do something. Like, they needed to hear my voice because they came to me and they listened to myself and by myself as a sense of comfort. You know what I mean? So it was like, I had moments where I was like very active every day and people like reaching out to me, say, hey, you're so active on social media. And then I'm just disappear for a month because it's like, that's my natural form. Like, I don't want to be on this thing. But I think I learned to a degree throughout this pandemic, like, there are people, like, if people bought your tickets to a show, bought a CD, bought something from you, there's a reason why they did that. It's not just because the music's good, it's because they're investing a bit in themselves in you. And I realized that I had a responsibility to be, like, if I don't want to sound like this, have this Messiah complex, but if my music is a light to people, then I have a responsibility, even when I don't feel that I have the light in me, to share that with people. You know what I mean?
It's not a Messiah complex. It's actually not. And I think that as artists, this is just my take on it. As artists, we are a light to people. Just the fact that people come and invest in you and take the time people resonate with us. That's the whole reason why we do these things. We do these things to ask, am I alone? Oh, no, there are people in the audience. They resonate with us. So we are a light.
But it can switch. That light can switch until, you know.
Yeah, but we're human too. You know, we're human, and that's the light. We are human, right? T, do you have anything to add?
Well, I mean, Witch Prophet, I totally feel like I went through a similar like format of my relationship, initially being like, oh, great, like this is the way to connect with people. I usually hate social media, but now I'm like really grateful for it and I'm going to engage a lot. And then I took a big break, but and now I'm coming back to it because I have some music coming out. But that thing about people finding comfort, like I feel like that really hit me at the very beginning. Like I had not thought about it that way. And you can get into this grind of like the strategy and like, oh, I need to get this song together and get this video together to put it out for blah, blah, blah. And you're not really even thinking about the emotion of it, what it's conveying, how people might pick up on it. And I had something like that at the beginning of the pandemic. I put out this little video and it was like an a cappella version of one of my songs. And I had all these people writing to me, and it wasn't supposed to, like, it was finished before the pandemic hit, and then it happened to come out and things were just getting really bad. And I kind of went through the same thing of being like, who am I to put something out right now? Like, who cares? Like, this is, But people started writing to me and using words to describe their connections to the music that I had not heard before, like saying, this is so calming, this is so peaceful, like, and I was like, wow, I haven't had those kinds of things said to me about my music, and that really meant a lot. And it kind of, I think it's changed how I think about what I put out moving forward. So I appreciate people being willing to like share that, even though it's kind of a hard time to tap into your emotions.
I think the as well as like taking a break from it, I didn't know, just like you said, I didn't know where, like, who am I to put something out. I actually went through a total like insecurity, anxiety came up. I was like, I suck. I don't know why people buy my music. You know, what's going on? Do people really care? And I started to get into conversation with other women about like how do we sustain ourselves through, how do we heal ourselves through things like this. We gather and we talk and we share stories and we share healing stories and we share like how do as an alternative musician in like black rock singer, how do I sustain myself when I've been like pushing? So I started conversations with people versus singing. I wasn't asking people to sing. I just wanted to talk. And I was surprised at how many people were showing up to just talk, because while people wanted music, they also just wanted to talk, and they wanted to hear people talk. And I just felt like it really was about connection. People just wanted to connect when we were also disconnected, or we felt so disconnected, you know? Yeah. Were there any things that like y'all got into outside of music? Like you were acting.
Yeah.
But what else? Like, was there anything else that grabbed you that was like, just as an outlet, because this is kind of like our grind.
Yeah.
It's our outlet, but it's our grind.
Yeah. Well, we talked a little bit about collaging.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, I used to do that as a kid, and I hadn't done it in a long time. And one day I was like, this is it. I'm going to Value Village. I'm getting a bunch of books. I'm getting my glue. I'm getting my scissors. And it was just so, it's just like so relaxing. And it's so nice to do something creative that isn't about a grind. Like, you know, so that was it for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Which Prophet?
It's really funny because I'm one of these people who are like, I need to be crafty. And so I'll buy everything that I need to do the crafts. And then I'll do one craft. No, I'll do one craft. I'll do the first craft and be like, woo!
Yeah.
So that's my answer. No, I got like, I did get like a t-shirt press and a Cricut during COVID, just because I was like, a Cricut is like a vinyl cutting machine. So you can like, you can do like heat presses or vinyl on anything like glass or
not
anything.
Vinyl.
Pretty much.
You mean like, okay.
No.
Yeah.
No, I wish. No. That's.
I'd be like,
I mean, not I wish. I'm totally
pocket.
You're just like digging the grooves into your own vinyl.
Yeah. No. It's for like t-shirts and crafts and stuff. But I bought it and I was like, I'm gonna do this for gifts and stuff, and just for family. And then I started and I was like, I really enjoy this. And I was like, and then immediately my like business music brain came, and I was like, I can start my own t-shirt. I can sell my own t-shirts. Like, okay, but it's actually a lot of work. And you know what? Like, it'll take away from the music. And so, like, I need to focus on the music. I can do that, but I need a focus.
Yeah. It's like music is a hobby for some people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
we don't have hobbies. We're like,
I'm like, what's that like? What's a hobby? Yeah. I feel like I got to a point like in interviews at one point where people would be like asking, they're like, so like, what do you like to do? And like, what do you, and I'm like, is this not enough? Like, this is what I do all the time. What do you mean?
Well, it
You
used
want
to be our
more? I'm
hobby,
sorry.
right? For all of us, music was our hobby to start, right? It was like that's what we loved. So and it
Yeah.
just turned into a career, right? And then we just
Yeah.
became obsessive about our career. So
did you pick up any hobbies?
I mean, I became like a marathon skipper. No,
I was like, whoa.
I mean, I did take up skipping. But I don't think I'm a marathon skipper.
Okay, so how long can you skip though?
I cap it off at 30 minutes. Like it's skipping is
30 minutes
30
straight?
minutes?
It's hard. It's hard, man. It's like 30. Yeah,
Whoa.
you go and you keep going until you can't go no more. And then like you trip up, take a breather, and keep going in that 30-minute span. But like,
Oh, okay, I can do
That's
that.
a lot.
yeah, when I first started, it was like I think at 1 minute I was like, damn. I was like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
I didn't realize how hard
amazing.
skipping is. Like you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
that's probably my favorite thing to do is like skip. It's just like skip.
Do you listen to music while you're doing it or listen to podcasts
Yeah,
or
like
something?
both. I listen
Yeah.
to music, podcasts, anything.
Nice.
Like, sometimes I'll
Nice.
listen to like career building things, like people talking about how to market yourself or whatever. But yeah, it's mainly like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really great way of like multitasking of I know that sometimes even when I'm learning lines for things, I've got to do something else so that my brain is occupied so that it's kind of coming in through osmosis. You know? Yeah, skipping. I learned how to hula hoop.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
Like I didn't realize how hard that was. That's hard.
Oh yeah.
Like when you yeah.
And there's like
and
intense,
going
like weighted
both
ones.
ways.
Right.
Yeah, I've got the weighted one.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's professional.
Yeah.
Pro.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm
That doesn't sound like a hobby to
hooper.
me. That sounds like
Oh my goodness. I wanna ask about, okay, there was something that I had spoken to I about in terms of, and I'm not trying to put the hot seat or the spotlight on funders, but I was talking to I about timelines and like the standardized timeline that that kind of you've got to get it out now, and that anxiety that comes along with deadlines. Deadlines. And not everyone works the same way, and I know that there's a lot of leniency, but it is that kind of feeling of if I don't do this now, I'm gonna lose this, and I'm going to ruin my career, or I'm gonna anybody, anyone.
Yeah, I mean, with this project that I'm coming out with, I had to they wanted me to wait until 2022 to release the record. I didn't want to do it for so many reasons. Like, you just have to you're sitting on it for so long, and you're ready to release it. And I have to just say, I got to release this in November for several reasons. One of them being funding. Like, it's like I have funding a lot allocated to this record. Some of it, if I don't use it by a certain time, I'm gonna have to pay it back. And then there's other rounds that are coming in that if I wait until 2022, I won't be eligible for those rounds. So it's just like you could have less money for this record. I'm telling my marketing and distributor that we could have less money for this record, or we could have more money if we release it now. And then they're like, oh, okay, let's release it now. But I think it's interesting because major label artists, if the album's not ready, they delay it. You know what I mean? Even Kanye West delay his albums every week for a month. You know what I mean? But we don't necessarily always have that luxury. I think there was some lenience during the pandemic where everything crashed and they allowed us to pivot some of that funding, but they didn't really allow us to bring that funding over into the next round or anything like that, so now you got to redo the grants and redo all the applications to get new funding for new rounds. And that money you have to spend it on something else.
Yeah.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And now you're up against 1,000 other people who are at home being like, I can write a grant.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Because they're at home being like,
Mhm.
I'm not on tour right now. I'm gonna
Mhm.
write this grant. And so it's like the pool is like 10 times larger than it already is.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. And I think even in the like the example of like Kanye, like, you know, different artists putting their album off or the release off. It's like, I don't know, maybe I'm just like, don't know. But when the album is done, it doesn't necessarily mean for me that I want to put it out once it's done.
Right.
Like there's timing, and sometimes it feels like done, put it out. Final report, get it in.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
wait. You know, yeah. What do you feel about it, T? You're on my screen right now.
Oh, I feel like I was lucky with just the timing of all of this because I didn't have like a major project planned for release in 2020. So the funding that I did get was kind of already in the context of the pandemic and that kind of thing. But yeah, in terms of like funding in general, it's which profit I hadn't thought of that when you said, "Oh, there's everyone sitting at home writing grants." I'm like, "Oh no, oh, shit!" I'm like, "Okay, that JSR deadline is looking even more intense." Yeah, so I guess I'll have to keep you posted on my pandemic funding, how it's worked out. Because so far it's been okay. Everything I've kind of experienced has been kind of with the understanding of the situation that we're in. So yeah.
So I got the 5-minute call. I wonder, is there anything anyone wants to say about like any, I don't know, maybe words of wisdom, something that was really profound that you got from 2020 into 2021, and something that you're taking into your future that you could share with someone that may inspire them to, I don't know, inspire them.
Yeah, I have something. Don't ever believe that you can't re-release your album in another country. Go right ahead. Take it down from the country that it's in. Go right ahead. Take it down from the country that it's in. Pitch it to the country that you want. Take it down. That's if you're an independent artist, which is how I am. I'm an independent artist. I can take my stuff down with whatever geo-tracking or whatever it's called and pitch it to a different country. And it's brand new for them. It doesn't mean that just because you're big or like whatever local celebrity, which is what I think I am, just as a local celebrity, it's like, even that is like, I'm not even known in other places in the world, in the majority of the world. And so just because you release something, it doesn't mean that it ends at the release. You can keep going, you can keep pushing, you can keep putting out assets. It is a huge world, 7 billion plus people, so get it.
Yes. Wicked.
I think the biggest thing I learned in terms of my career is that, you know, all my career I've been putting myself as the centerpiece and the hero of my story. And I've learned that the audience is the hero of the story. They're the ones who come to my music for something, and I'm their guide. I'm their Yoda. I'm their teacher. I'm the guy who comes and says, here's the help I can give you. You know what I mean? So I feel like people don't come to you because like they're rooting for you, and you'll get a fan base because they're rooting for you, but they're really rooting for themselves, and you're giving them something to take home and to take with them and to help them carry on. So for me, that was the biggest thing I learned. Like I always said to us, hey guys, I'm gonna make you proud. I'm gonna make it. I'm this independent hustle. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And then when I kind of flipped that, I started seeing a different interaction with my audience where it's like, hey guys, you're gonna make it. We're gonna make it together. Here's what I've done to get me here, to do this, and how like that. that's a more powerful interaction, and I feel like it's shown me that it's more sustainable. So that's the biggest thing. Like I've always made myself the hero, and I've learned that no, they're the hero, you're the helper. Help them
Mm,
where they need to go.
mm. Wow,
Mm.
that's beautiful. I feel like for me, it's been a big lesson around like don't chase things that you
Mm.
think you should have, places, scenes you think you should be part of, industry people you think should like you or whatever, you should be on their radar. Stop chasing and just like nurture what is around you, nurture the collaborators that you already click with, you already vibe with, you know, the people who want to be around you, who excite you. Just stop chasing because you're trying to climb up that ladder and just nurture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, it has been self-acceptance.
Mm.
That's a really hard one, to accept all of everything about you, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that then reflects onto everyone else. We just be who we are
Right.
and share what we have to share.
Absolutely.
I guess on that note, we're done.